Megwa kinuamdan dawem dameng kilwen minwa.
You are watching Finding Our Talk.
Vous regardez Parler pour survivre.
Hello, welcome to Finding Our Talk. I'm Paul Chapuis and I'm your host for this series, which looks at Aboriginal languages in Canada. Today we're going salmon fishing in BC. We'll learn the remarkable story of the late Dave Elliott, a Saanich fisherman and elder who preserved his language in the 1970s by writing it down on paper towels. The Saanich language heard in these parts of British Columbia is part of the Coastal Salish family language group. Its speakers belong to the Saanich Nation that occupies several communities at the southern end of Vancouver Island.
My name is John Elliott and my Saanich name is Stalkwit. It's the name of a place where my ancestors used to go. My late father, Dave Elliott, gave that name to me. And this place where we're standing is called Huchaslalp. It means that it's the people of the cedar rope, which goes back to the story when our people survived the Great Flood here. And at that time they named themselves the FOT Saanich people, which is the emerging people, emerged from that flood. They tied themselves to a little mountain back here. And they called that little mountain Tlewanguk, meaning place of escape or a place of refuge. When our elders wanted to make a new school and name it, they named it Tlewanguk after our sacred mountain, where our people survived this great flood many years ago. Because we're in a different flood now, a different kind of a flood today, and hopefully it'll be a place where our people and our young people can find some kind of refuge in some of the knowledge that we can give to them about who we are and what our identity is as a people, the Saanich.
The vibrant culture of the Saanich people is rich in art, songs, and stories, but it's also a culture struggling to preserve its language. The local Clayanook Tribal School caters to 200 students from the 4 bands in the Saanich area. It's a private band-operated school where the revitalization of the Saanich language and culture is taking place.
Say again. Say again. I work at this school teaching our language at Clayanook Tribal School, and our school offers all of the same curriculum as any provincial school, and here it's in BC curriculum. And the only other difference that we have there is what we offer in our Saanich language program. And Saanich is the name of our language. We offer the language from nursery school to grade 9. It's not my first language because many of our people my age were not speaking the language. And so I've been trying to learn everything I can about that language in the last 25 years so that I can be of some kind of a help to help our language to survive in this day and age.
The decline of the Saanich language dates back to the early part of the 20th century, when federal regulations were introduced forbidding the Saanich people from fishing, hunting, and food gathering over their traditional lands. In addition, their children were taken away and placed in the residential schools. As a result, the culture and language were suppressed, creating a gap between the elders and the children. Today, only 15 fluent speakers remain.
My name is Ivan Morris. My name is Scotland. It belonged to my great-grandfather who lived down Scotland. The years as I grew up, I've known my father and mother to go fishing right in the bay here, and that's how we lived out from the sea. I remember our elders, when they got together on the beach, they formed a circle on the beach and spoke their own language. And this was something to listen to the elders speak to one another in their own language.
Today, the recording of the Sanchofan language in written form is playing an important role in its preservation.
That's a sentence for you.
The unique orthography that the students are presently learning was developed by the late Dave Elliott, a Saanich elder who devoted the last years of his life to single-handedly devising the Sanchofan alphabet.
Kaiches. Ellalta chingasang at the anenu nasaisi in ngaka. And a note squaitan. U achang san laheltan tia lanitlia lahelta the sata chita skanget. He says it's Friday, and I'm really afraid that it's going to snow. My name is Linda Mahmood, and my Saanich name is Kwasinia. My dad was David Elliott Sr., and his Saanich name was Panech. In his earlier life, he lived with the old people. He traveled, he hunted, he fished. He lived in a traditional longhouse, and he witnessed all of that. He's seen the passing of a way of life and a language.
Dave Elliott was born in 1910 on the Tarslip Reserve at the southern end of Vancouver Island. He spent most of his life as a commercial fisherman until arthritis forced him to quit. He then began working as a caretaker at the local school. It was there that he recognized the rapid decline in the use and knowledge of the Sanchofan language.
He was totally immersed in trying to save Sanchofan. He used to dream about it. He used to get up in the middle of the night and work on it, you know. And there were some of the letters that he couldn't seem to find an appropriate symbol for. But one night he woke up and he said it was all there. He said he got up and he just wrote it all down, and he said it was like a gift. And he said that's what that alphabet is a gift. It was around that time when he was beginning to write Sanchofan on paper towels.
We learned the writing system that he devised. That was how I got involved in working with language. He made language seem very important to us, and as young people we didn't find it that important. But as I get older, I understand that why he was doing that work and why he insisted on us learning what he wanted us to know about our own history, our own background, and our own identity as a people.
When he was working on the language, he did work with a number of different linguists that were around Saanich at that time, and he learned the way they wrote the language too. And after time passed, he said, well, he said, this is going to take forever. He said, I don't have that much time. And he said, we're going to have to find a faster way to do this. So he went to the secondhand store and bought an old typewriter. And he set about finding symbols that could be written on the typewriter, a regular, ordinary typewriter that you didn't have to buy for $7,000 or whatever, that anybody could own. And that was his idea, was that anybody could use the alphabet.
During the winter of 1977, Dave Elliott's Sanchofan alphabet was completed using only 38 characters. Dave Elliott passed away in 1989, leaving behind a legacy for his people, one which has already had a profound impact on the preservation of the language.
Dad was making the base for a Sanchofan language dictionary, and he worked along with several elders from the Saanich area, and they actually got together and recognized my father's writing system, which we call the Dave Elliott writing system for Sanchofan language, and adopted it at our school, Tlangwak Tribal School, to be the alphabet that we would use to teach our children to read and write our language, and that's what I've been doing.
The countless voices of the ancestors are today expressed through only a handful of elders. Incorporating their abilities to preserve the Sanchofan language has become a desperate battle against time.
My name is Earl Claxton, and the name Claxton is my grandfather's name. My first language is Sanchofan. My second language is English.
Okay, we'll stop at that one just the way it is, just so as you...
Earl was one of the elders who learned the writing system created by the late Dave Elliott.
We were sitting there, and then we didn't know what to expect just when Lindy came in, and he said to his daughter, "I want you to read what's on the board there." And Lindy read that board, and I was absolutely shocked that there was something written there, and she took it and read it out, what was written on the board. And I thought, this is it.
Next one, present tense.
Currently, Earl is working with Linda in the creation of a comprehensive dictionary of the Sanchofan language.
We did have a program while my dad was still alive. We worked 5 days a week. We tried to write down as many things as we could while we had a chance to do that. So we were lucky.
When he started, we recorded all the nouns, the names of the trees and the fish, the island place names. And when it got to the grammar part of the language, what we're doing now, he always threw up his hands and he said, "That's for you guys to do." He says, "I'm not going to solve that out, and that's for you guys to figure out."
We lost our language. Many of us, well, there's only Earl and I around here that can speak. I can speak to Earl, and I could understand him. And I still say it's important to our people to know that language. I'm thankful to Earl, John, Linda, because they're here putting it all down in paper and computer and that. Hopefully the young people can learn it through all that.
The traditional territory of the Saanich people is today being infringed upon by the suburban expansion of the neighboring city of Victoria. Highways and traffic constantly cut through their lands. Even one of their sacred areas is now a provincial park. Here at the Gold Stream Park amongst the old growth, the chum salmon of the Pacific still come to spawn here every year. As they've done for centuries, the Saanich people also come here to harvest them. The salmon play an important role in the Saanich way of life. Most of the season's salmon is caught in the straits, But this is the only waterway where the salmon come to spawn in the Saanich territory.
We were just having our yearly outing with the kids here to the place we call Saloktat, which is in Gold Stream. And the chum salmon run up here every year. And traditionally our people have come here for many years. Some people camped along here. They used to have smokehouses here years ago, and some people would smoke their fish. So it's a good experience for the kids to come here because they get to be here in our land. All this was our land, this whole river. We still believe that, that we have the right to this land, and we want to show them that this is their right, and actually come out here and do it and be here fishing and taking part of it.
I'll sign autographs later.
And it was like our educational time for our kids, where all kinds of teachings took place. And they taught our young people in the old days how to preserve food, how to look after our land properly. And it's our basic belief that we should respect everything as a human being, just like ourselves, and that we should look after all of the living things around us. And that's the way that our ancestors lived on this land, and respect everything and take only what we need to use and not to overuse anything. All of that kind of teaching is in our language, and that's important.
Them big smoke, but no fire.
We do those kind of activities, and I like to do more and more of those because it takes our kids more into our territory and gives them a feeling that they belong to the land. It can stick through. As soon as you know it can stick through, and then stick it through, and then keep your knife turned down a little bit like this. Then you can follow the bone. You can feel the bone with your knife. That's what you got to learn how to do. So you can just cut outside the rib. That's all.
Teaching Saanich beliefs and the Sanchoffan language to young people is a challenge.
There's a row of bones here that you feel.
The school has recently focused on the use of technology as a tool to enhance the teaching aspect of the language and culture.
If you get slime on your handle, your hand will slip up.
Through a federal government grant, the school purchased a video camera and a set of Macintosh computers that the students can use. The hope is that this will positively impact the learning and teaching of their language.
There it is. These people have to get the head cut off so that she can have these heads in. My name's Peter Brand, and I'm the technology teacher here at the Clearwater Tribal School. This was a really amazing experience for us. What we're doing has only really been possible on the kind of budget that we have for the last year, literally. It's only since iMovie came out with the iMac, which enables children. I mean, we have grade 4 and 5 children in this school editing digital video, which is truly remarkable to me. Over the last few days, you've had an amazing opportunity to participate in something that is very much a strong part of your culture, right?
My grandma told me I gotta give my first fish away for some reason, like you'll have bad luck or something.
A long time ago, my grandfather said that they used to always go around, when he was a boy, they always used to go around giving away deer or fish or ducks or handing it out to the people. And so their people don't starve or anything.
I think if they could record different elders saying different things about it, that they could drop and drag that into their program and share that around, and it's like having them in the community right here.
We went up there for a school trip, and we brought up our digital camera and we imported it onto the computer, and now we're just editing it to make a little story out of it. Are you going to get something?
It was my first time using the camera, and I really didn't know what to do. So someone in them helped me.
There we got a couple of kids who caught fish and a couple of elders that spoke. When we were up there, John was teaching us the words of the place where we're at, which I'm not very good at pronouncing it, but and what fish we're catching.
So that's a big component of it. The ability for children to take an iMac and plug in a digital camcorder and be able to tape their elders describing everyday cultural things that they do and edit it on the computer and turn it into something. So what that did was we all started realizing that we had a tool here that had huge implications for how we might use technology in language revitalization. It's down there. Okay, try it again now. Okay, now you can hear the hum of the computer, but we'll live with that for now. Perfect.
So I say it, or?
After you click record, now you take the mouse and you're the boss, right?
The use of video and computers in the classroom has enabled students to get involved in the creation of a Sanchoffen alphabet book that uses video, photos, sound, and the Sanchoffen writing system.
You click on that letter and you'll hear the sound that that letter makes, and this has been a really valuable tool in speeding up the process of learning the representation of each of these unique letters of Dave Eliot's alphabet.
Each kid or each student gets a letter, they make a movie, and they make a picture. Jessica. Jessica. It's loud.
So every student is working on a different page, and when that's all linked together, all those pages are linked again into a book.
Kaku.
The beauty of all this work, of course, it's all digital, it's all forever.
I choose cat because the letter starts in P in Sanchoffen for poos, a cat. And my sentence for cat is I sitzen sa poos. That is, the cat is walking.
Different font was selected there.
It really increased Sanchoffen time for our kids, and it increased the interest in what they were doing. And I think that's really, really important today.
I find that there's a little bit of waste in it.
I think every kind of learning that kids do has to have some real relevance to it, to feel like they're doing something important.
Ngasal, just 4. Ngasal, through till the ngast, and then hang it.
The work is never going to be over. You know, the work is valuable that we're doing for the future. And, you know, we didn't lose our language in a short while. It's going to take a little while to turn it back. If it takes a lifetime, then do what you can, and that's what I'm going to do.
The last out, when you grab the other ones, you have to tilt it a little bit so it doesn't fall off the end, okay?
I'm going to do my part, like my dad did. He used to say the fire is almost out. There's just a spark left. And fill those kids' hearts with that flame and desire to be what they're meant to be in this world.
Thank you for joining us on our journey through Aboriginal languages. This series will also be broadcast in Cree, Mohawk, and French, and will be available on videotape in all 4 languages. We love to hear from you and to learn about your language journeys. Thanks for watching. I'm Paul Chaput.